group stages are now complete. They are done. We now know our knockout stage, our round of 16. I think I can actually pull it up here. There it is for you. This has not been filled in yet, but we are aware of what our round of 16 is. So we're going to review the last day of the group stages for each team. I'll give my thoughts, and also this is going to be a sort of general, my opinion on how each team has performed in these group stages. Now all 3 games have been played for each nation, so a little bit of a roundup video here today, and then tomorrow we will be doing our official round of 16 predictions. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Of course, get in the comments below. Oh no, we'll do some awards as well at the end of like my play of the tournament, best team of the tournament so far of the group stages. So let me know yours in the comments below. And yeah, let's begin. It's been an absolutely incredible group stage, by the way. Just an overall point. These group stages have been full of drama. There've been some poor games here and there, but I think overall the drama factor, even if the quality of games has not been high, the drama has been so good, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I've loved these group stages, and I really cannot wait for the knockouts. I really hope the knockouts do deliver just as well as the group stages have. But anyway, let's begin. So let's start in Group A. So Group A, your winners of Group A just about were Germany, who managed to salvage a 92nd minute equaliser versus Switzerland in their game. They went 1-0 down, but Nicholas Fulkrug came off the bench for super sub to rescue Germany in this game. And look, a lot of people were hyping up Germany after their group stage performances against Scotland and Hungary, rightfully so. They played very well, but I was very bullish on them, and I said, you know, I want to see how they do against a better opposition. I wanted to wait and see how they did in this game versus Switzerland before I judged if they were going to be, you know, favourites for this competition. And to be honest, it wasn't an awful performance by Germany, but I wasn't impressed. I wasn't impressed, and I think we saw that maybe, okay, you know, Scotland and Hungary were just really bad. Germany is still a good side. They're probably still going to go very far in this tournament, but I think they're maybe just not as good as some people thought, because in this game, like, they had a few chances, but I think the stats are a little bit deceiving. They didn't really create too many chances. Switzerland held them back really well, but it was kind of a typical Swiss performance that we've come used to in recent years against the big sides, just resilient defensively, so solid, and then trying to hit on the break, which they did very effectively and couldn't quite hold on. If they did hold on, they would have topped the group, which would have been something crazy, absolutely crazy, but Germany did manage to do it. Nicholas Fulkrug, as I said, yet again off the bench to rescue them, and personally, I think he should be starting. I thought this before. I thought this after the first game, to be honest. I think Kai Havertz up front, you know, he offers something, but I think with the players here, these three just love a ball defeat. If you get a Fulkrug in there, it just mixes things up, and every time he plays for Germany, he performs. So for me, he should be starting. I understand Nagelsmann might want him as like a plan B option because he's very good at that, but I personally just feel that Fulkrug should be starting ahead of Havertz, in my opinion. But yeah, in this game, Wirtz, to be fair, Wirtz hasn't had the best tournament in my opinion so far. He started off well in the first game, but has slowly dipped and dipped. I don't really like him out wide in that position. Musiala wasn't the best in this game either. Jonathan Dar as well got a yellow card, which means he misses for around a 16 tie, which is big miss. By the way, that is such a stupid rule. Honestly, I hate it. Like, 2 yellow cards in 3 group stage games and you're out. Like, that's so stupid. I want to see the best of the best in the knockout stages, right? I don't care if you get 2 yellow cards. At least 3 yellow cards in 3 games. Alright, maybe then, sure. because Nagelsmann went for the same lineup, which I completely understand because he wants to build that cohesion and chemistry within the team. But I think you saw that some of those players were a little bit tired, and yeah. Overall, in terms of the group for Germany, I think Germany had a very good group stage, but as I said, when they came up against a better opposition in Switzerland, they struggled. So we'll see how they do in the knockout stages, but they still are looking pretty good. I wouldn't be worried, of course, if you're a German fan. I'll be pretty happy and confident going into these last 16 ties, but you know, there are some things there from Germany which made me think, okay, maybe they're not as good as people think. As for Switzerland, a very, very good group stage. As I said, almost managed to top the group, which would have been absolutely incredible, and that performance versus Germany is really encouraging. I think that showed that the Swiss are capable in the knockouts of doing something very special, because they can give a game to any single team at this tournament, in my opinion. You know, the last World Cup they got blown away by Portugal. I don't see that happening in this tournament at all. I think in the knockouts they're going to be a really, really competitive team, and nobody wants to play the Swiss, in my opinion. Nobody wants to play them, and yeah, they're looking pretty good. The other game was Hungary-Scotland, which ended in another dramatic fashion. 90th minute goals in this group, which is pretty insane. Kevin Suboff with a 90 plus 10 minute goal. It was a pretty drab affair. I mean, it was firstly I need to say Barnabas Vargas suffered a really bad injury, and luckily he is okay, but yeah, that was a bit scary. But it was a pretty bad game. It was crazy because both teams needed to win the game, yet I think they only realised that they needed to win the game in the last 10 minutes, because the last 10 minutes was frantic. Before that, both teams were pretty cautious and pretty poor. Scotland didn't even have a shot on target, which is awful. But Hungary broke away and managed to get that goal at the end, but it wasn't enough, unfortunately, for them. I mean, it was a nice moment, nice for them to get the victory, but yeah, I believe they are out of the competition due to the third place. Third place wasn't quite good enough, getting 3 points, which is unfortunate. They are unlucky there, but at least they managed to get a victory in their last game. Scotland, I mean, I've been really, really disappointed with them at these Euros. Like, really, really bad. Obviously, in the first game, getting battered by Germany was awful, but they've just been so negative. Like, I thought they'll have a go at least in one of the games, but they couldn't. Then they got like 3 shots on target in their 3 games, which is just abysmal. And yeah, yet again, no wins at the major tournaments, which is just so poor, and exiting on 1 point. Really, really disappointing, but yeah. That was Group A. Fantastic group, lots of drama in these games, absolutely loved it. Okay, on to Group B then, Spain. Spain, I believe, right? Yes, Spain, the only team to go and win all 3 points, get 9 out of 9 points in their group stages. They picked up a 1-0 victory over Albania. It wasn't the most convincing victory. Albania did pile on some pressure towards the end, but they couldn't do it, and it was a completely rotated Spain side anyway. It was pretty much everybody besides like Laporte from their usual starters was not there, and this showed that the Spanish team, they have depth. They really do, because this is actually a really good team. And players like Ferran Torres scored the goal, looked good. Joselu did as well. Jesus Navas, rolling back the years, was magnificent. So yeah, Spain showed in this game they have depth. Even their second side can win. And yeah, honestly, Spain, by far and away the best team at this tournament so far in the group stages. Thoroughly impressive. To win all 3 games, that's impressive on its own, considering, as I said, no other team has managed to win their games. But then when you consider that they were in probably the hardest group, we had Italy and Croatia in their group, and they still won all their games. Didn't even concede a single goal as well. Especially when defence was considered one of their weak spots. They didn't even concede a goal in the groups. Yes, Spain did pull out a statement massive statement in these group stages and are looking super, super good. One thing I do worry about them going into the knockout stages is potentially their wastefulness in front of goal, because although they haven't conceded, they do allow chances in their games, and then in terms of going forward, they should have scored more than 5 goals this group, by far more. They create a lot of chances, but they're not clinical up top. They do waste a lot of chances, as they did versus Albania as well. And I do worry that against like a Germany or something, they might get found out where they keep missing those chances, and then on the counter, Germany might punish them like that. So that's one thing I am a little bit concerned by Spain of. But for me, brilliant, absolutely brilliant in this tournament so far. As for Albania, you know what? Albania can hold their heads up high. They really, really can, because every single game in this group, when they were drawn in this group, everyone's like they're getting smacked up every game. Firstly, they managed to get a point in the group, which is an achievement in itself. But every single game they were thoroughly competitive in, took the lead versus Italy, got a point versus Croatia, and gave Spain a really, really hard time of it. And that's all you could really ask for of Albania. So although they didn't get a win, they did get a point. They finished last, but they can be super proud of their team if you're Albanian. Okay, going through in second place with Italy with 4 points in an absolutely crazy, crazy, dramatic game. So in the final game, ended Croatia 1, Italy 1. Mattia Zaccagni with a 98th minute equaliser, which knocked out Croatia. If it was going to end 1-0, Croatia would have gone through, and Italy likely would have gone through on the third place. But Mattia Zaccagni on a breakaway, Riccardo Cagliafiori, by the way, superb in the lead up to that goal, and then Zaccagni with an absolute belter of a finish to break Croatian hearts. And I'll be real, I was a bit heartbroken as well. One, because I really like this Croatian side. I think Modric, his story, it would have been such an amazing story for him. He missed a pen and then like 1 minute later scored a winner to send his team for knockouts. What a story that would be. But then also, in my predictions, I did kind of tip Croatia to do pretty well. But in general, I want to see the best teams in there, and I actually think Croatia have been pretty decent at this tournament and really unlucky, really, really unlucky not to progress. The thing about them is game management. 98th minute equaliser here, and then you look at their other games. Sorry, it was against Albania. Same thing. Leading in the 95th minute equaliser again. Just poor concentration, really, really poor concentration from them has cost them at this tournament, and yeah, it's disappointing. Croatia is an end of an era, likely Modric's last major tournament, and yeah, the Modric era, the golden generation, is firmly done. They have been grouped, but as I said, I don't think they've actually been that bad. Like, they were by far and away better than Italy in this game, but unfortunately they are knocked out, and yeah, we're gonna have to press the reset button and rebuild after Luka Modric now. Whereas Italy, it's been a pretty scary and patchy group stage for them, but in the end they got the job done. Started off with a scare versus Albania, but they did manage to pull that back. They looked pretty good in that game. But that Spain game for them was absolutely abysmal. They were battered. And then against Croatia again, things were not good, and then they got bailed out at the end there. I do worry about Italy. Good they made it out the groups. They managed to get the job done versus Croatia, but particularly against Spain, that performance worries me, because it showed that when they come up against a truly good side, an elite side, they're just not at that level in my opinion, and I do fear for them in the knockouts. They still have quality. Spalletti has made a couple weird decisions, which, hopefully he can get right come the knockouts, but I don't know about Italy. I'm a little bit unconvinced by them so far, and I do fear that in the knockout stages Spain again, or if they come up against a Germany or France. I don't see Italy winning, to be honest, but maybe I'll be proven wrong. However, in the group stages, they've not been the most convincing side, in my opinion. Okay, Group C then. So yeah, England. Let's talk about it. England top the group with 5 points, just one win. One win. Okay, by the way, as well, in general, this is just an awful group. If we erase this group, every other group was full of drama, absolutely magnificent. This group was so boring. One win in all of these games is absolutely crazy. But alright, let's talk about it. So we'll talk about the Slovenia game, 0-0. Oh gosh, it's awful. It's really, really bad from England right now. I'm going to talk about the group stages in general, actually, for us. So, 1-0 win versus Serbia, 1-1 versus Denmark, and 0-0 versus Slovenia. That is shocking. That is absolutely shocking. And you see, we managed to top the group, but we've been so poor doing it. So poor. The football has been turgid. We've been by far and away the most boring side of this tournament. And, you know, I'm not asking for us to be exciting. The problem I have is we can't create chances. We have no identity. We have no idea. We have no plan on how to break down low blocks, as we saw versus Slovenia. They just sat back and it was comfortable for them. Oblak barely had to make a save in that game. Same thing versus Serbia. First 20 minutes, great. After that, barely great anything. Denmark, same thing. After a goal, didn't create too many chances. That's my problem. This lack of goals is really, really going to hurt us. Our inability to break down teams is a problem. And a lot of it is due to tactics, and a lot of it is due to player selection. For example, this left-hand side needs addressing quickly. Kieran Trippier offers absolutely nothing going forward. But then Carl Walker offers absolutely nothing else going forward on the right. So both fullbacks offer nothing, which is a big problem. And then on the left-hand side, Phil Foden, again, he likes to come inside. He was actually a little bit better in this Slovenia game, but still not amazing. And that means on the left, we just have no one who actually holds the width for us, which is a big problem. I want to see Gordon come in to the team, to be honest now. Or I would rather do what Southgate did at the end, where you put Walker left back and Trent here, because at least we have somebody on the right. One fullback at least who can attack. The one positive is, I will say, the defence has been really good. Mark Gay has been fantastic, absolutely fantastic, as has Pickford. But even then, have they even really been tested? Slovenia, they knew they only needed a point, so they didn't even try and attack us. Serbia had a few attacks, and the only time we were tested was against Denmark, where we conceded, right? So, I don't even know how good our defence really is. The midfield is awful as well. Rice and Gallagher together in the midfield. I mean, why do you think we can't create chances? Come on, like, who's creating chances out of Rice and Gallagher? Mainu needs to play in there. Mainu has to play there. He was much better than Gallagher when he came on at half time. Kane, poor. Bellingham, absolutely anonymous. Absolutely anonymous in this game. Saka did okay, but not great. Palmer was good when he came on, and yeah, the things are just not good from us. We have not been good at all, England, and I do worry. I really, really do worry about us. And I'll talk about it more in our round of 16 predictions video. But I also worry that we're sleepwalking, and we might sleepwalk our way deep into this competition and then catch ourselves in trouble. Because this England team needs a wake-up call, in my opinion. We really do. Because we're playing so poor. We're not looking like we can score. And yeah, it's really not looking good. I'm not happy, and I'm worried about our chances. I really, really am. Anyway, let's forget about England for a second. Slovenia, fantastic achievement to qualify for their first knockout stages of a major tournament in their history. Superb. Drawn all 3 games, but to draw against England, that's a great achievement defensively. So solid. And I was quite optimistic about Slovenia going into this, and I was kind of justified. I've been really impressed with them this tournament. should in the Denmark-Serbia game. But of course in the England game they didn't need a win, they came there for the point, they got the point. And superb, absolutely superb from them. I'm not sure about their chances in the knockout stages, but what I will say is they're a team who will never be blown away. They will always remain in the game against a team no matter who they're playing. I'll be shocked if we see them lose by more than 2 or 3 goals in a game in the knockouts. Denmark were the other team who qualified after a 0-0 draw versus Serbia. Yeah, another ball game, but Denmark overall did their job, which they needed to do in this group. Qualified out of it, a little bit ropey, like drawing all 3 games is pretty funny, but they managed to do it. And what I will say is Denmark look much better than, of course, the last World Cup where they got grouped. They look far better. Eriksen's looking pretty good, and overall they look like a much better team. They're definitely not as good as what they were at the last Euros, but what I will say is they're looking like a solid team who can cause problems to anybody, and they'll remain in the game versus anyone. As we saw versus England, they looked pretty good, and yet Denmark are a solid team in my opinion right now, and they've done well to get out of this group. Serbia though, disappointing yet again, another tournament where they disappoint. I believe it's actually their first Euros and they're out in the groups with 0 wins, 2 draws, 1 loss. Really bad. I mean, it was close to being 1 point as well. They needed a 95th minute equaliser from Luka Jovic in that game. But yeah, Serbia really disappointing. You know, they have some talented players, but they just haven't been able to get it to work. And yeah, very disappointing for them to come 4th. Okay, Group D, where we had probably our first and biggest shock in terms of group placement. Austria top the group with 6 points. Who saw this coming? Who saw Austria topping a group with France and Netherlands in? I mean, I certainly didn't. I'm pretty sure I predicted them to not even make it out the groups, but they have been absolutely superb. They beat Netherlands 3-2 in one of the best games of the group stages, for sure. An absolutely incredible game. You know, Austria absolutely superb in this game. They were by far the better team. Netherlands was really bad. But credit to Austria, and credit to this man here, Ralf Rangnick. What a job he's done with his Austrian side. What an amazing job he has done. And I don't want to bring it back to England, but this just makes me even more annoyed about England. Because like, look how good Austria have been playing. Look at the cohesiveness, look at the style of play, being able to implement. And look at their players compared to England. And we can't even make any sort of pattern of play. Anyways, it's not about England, it's about Austria. Superb. Their players was absolutely brilliant. And they've had, you know, some injuries as well. But they still managed to do it defensively. They were pretty good in this game. Going forward, so good. And what I really liked about them was, even when they were winning 3-2, they were still trying to press high, they were still chasing every ball, they were still trying to go forward, and I just absolutely loved that. And in all of their games as well, they've been superb. They've been one of these teams who have really grown into the tournament. Like, they started the game tournament off versus France. They gave France a good game, but that wasn't necessarily Austria's best performance ever. Poland game, much better, and the Netherlands game, absolutely superb. They're just getting better and better every single game this tournament, and to top this group is absolutely superb. And a lot of people tip them to be dark horses for this tournament. So far, they're living up to that, and we'll get onto it. But they're on the easier side of the draw as well now, so who knows? Maybe something special could happen here. But either way, even if they get knocked out in a round of 16, it's slightly different because France have actually, like, although they've been really bad in front of goal, like the only goal has been Mbappe pen and an own goal in the Austria game. They've actually created a lot of chances, and actually it's more just been so they've been really wasteful in front of goal rather than they're not creating anything. Like in this game, they had loads of chances. Mbappe should have scored in open play at least one goal, and yeah, they just couldn't put the ball in the net. And same thing versus Netherlands game, Griezmann had some. So France have like not played awful, but they're just really poor in front of goal. Their attack's been really bad as well. You know, besides Mbappe, the thing is with France, if Mbappe's not the one scoring, nobody scores for France, as we've literally seen, right? Their only goal by a France player this tournament has been Mbappe. Like Dembele has 0 end products, so frustrating. Barkler shows some good moments, but not amazing. And then like Giroud's old now, Colomboani's not prolific. They're just really struggling in front of goal. That's a big problem. What I will say is defensively they've been good. Like the only goal Poland had was just a poor moment by Upamecano. To be fair, it's actually been pretty good. By the way, that penalty, Maignan saved it and then it got retaken. Obviously I understand why, but Vinny had put some rules on the amount of like steps you can take, because Lewandowski, I mean, he was just taking stutter after stutter. I mean, of course Maignan's gonna come off this line. He has no idea when this guy's gonna take the pen. But anyway, as a side note, yeah, France. The thing with France, look, it's not been a good group, and they've put themselves in a bad position because they are now on the harder side of the groups. The bracket. But I wouldn't completely panic if I'm a France fan. Yes, things are not going great, but as I said, I think their performances have been okay. They've been pretty wasteful in front of goal. If they can sort that out, then they should be fine. But yeah, it's been underwhelming if you're a France fan. As for Netherlands, coming in third, finishing with 4 points, qualifying through third place, really poor. I thought Netherlands actually started off a group day decent, like they were pretty good versus Poland, but they've just been, it's actually funny, it's the reverse of Austria. Austria, as I said, have slowly been getting better and better this tournament. Netherlands have been getting worse and worse in my opinion. Like, their performance versus Poland was pretty good, performance versus France, they were pretty negative, and versus Austria it was abysmal. It was really bad versus Austria. Like, some of the defending was awful. Van Dijk in that game was poor, and they were just so bad in that game versus Austria in my opinion. When they had the ball, they had no idea how to create chances, what to do with it. So yeah, I worry about the Netherlands, I really do. I think they're kind of similar to Italy. I think when they come up against a big side, I really do fear that they might get found out, that they might lose the game. Because yeah, I just don't think they're that good of a side. I think we've seen quite a few weaknesses in this team, but maybe I'm being a bit harsh. I just don't think this Netherlands team are that good in my opinion. Okay, and then finally Poland, who, of course, they were already out before the final game versus France, but what I will say is they can hold their heads up high. They managed to get a draw versus France, which is impressive. Lewandowski as well, fantastic for him to get a goal in maybe potentially his last major tournament for Poland. That was nice. Also, their goalkeeper was superb. I mean, he looks like the next Chesney. This guy is absolutely superb. But yeah, I think Poland have been pretty good in this tournament. They've just been unlucky in their games, but it was nice to at least get a point. Okay, Group E, maybe the best group of the tournament. Romania top the group. I mean, who would have thought that? Big up my Romanians in the chat. Get in the comments below. Get in the comments below. I know I have a couple of you watching. I think it's Agent14.7. He said to me when I made predictions, I'm pretty sure I predicted them last. He was like, I hope you're wrong. Well, fair play. I was wrong. Romania have topped the group. I mean, that is some achievement. Who would have thought that? With a draw versus Slovakia, it was pretty funny because both teams needed a draw to qualify, so people were kind of thinking, oh, they're just going to like play out a 0-0. But both teams actually came out here looking for the win. But in the end, I think towards the end of the game, They sort of just saw out the victory for both of them with the draw. But what a performance by Romania in this group. They've been superb. Obviously versus Ukraine, winning 3-0. That was absolutely sensational. And then drawing versus Slovakia, but even their game versus Belgium, which they lost, they were pretty good. They were pretty good in my opinion. Like, they gave Belgium a right good game. They were just cut open towards the end. But yeah, I think Romania, I'm not sure how far they'll go, but to make it out of the groups is a superb achievement, and to top a group like this is absolutely wonderful and fantastic for Romania. So big up to them. Belgium came in second place with 4 points, and yeah, Belgium, not good, not great. I mean, at least they got out the groups. They didn't get out the groups of the last World Cup, but it wasn't the best performance. It was kind of weird because against Slovakia, really poor, lost the game, right? But then they bounced back with a great performance versus Romania. But then they reverted back to this sort of performance versus Ukraine, just a really poor 0-0 draw. And it's pretty crazy. Who would have thought, if I had told you in 2018 after Belgium had got to the World Cup semi-final, that Belgium in 2024 would be keeping the ball in the corner versus Ukraine to make it out of the group stages versus in a group that contains Slovakia and Romania. Yeah, you would have laughed, but I guess that's where it is right now. Belgium, what I will say is they look good going forward. Like, they can cause some problems going forward. I actually think Belgium might profit against a bigger side who are going to put the game on them, because Belgium on the counter-attack have some really good players like Lukaku, obviously De Bruyne, Doku. So I think that might help them, but defensively Belgium don't look the best, even though they did keep 2 clean sheets in this game. Defensively they have been cut open a few times. I think this Belgium team is very similar. I would put them and Netherlands and Italy in a similar bracket in terms of they have some good players, they can cause some problems, but I think when they come up against the elite opposition, they're gonna struggle. But look, at least they made it out of the groups. Slovakia came in third place with 4 points. They qualify. Fantastic achievement for Slovakia. I'm not sure if they've actually ever made it out of the group stages. Maybe someone can let me know, but either way, superb achievement. And what I will say, they've actually been a team who have kind of surprised me the most. They played some really good football at points, and yeah, especially against Belgium, they looked really good. And I'll be interested to see how they do in the knockouts. I believe they have England, so we'll see. But I'll tell you what, Slovakia, don't underestimate them. Do not underestimate them. Slovakia have been really good in this group stages, and I'm really intrigued to see how they do. They play some nice football as well. But Ukraine, oh my word, I feel so bad for them. To be honest, I would have felt bad for whoever didn't qualify from this group, because they finished on 4 points and did not qualify. They are the first team in Euro history to get 4 points and not qualify from a group. That is so harsh for them. They couldn't really do much more. It was just that loss to Romania, losing 3-0 at the start was so bad. They almost even beat Belgium as well. Yeah, just so heartbreaking for Ukraine. I was kind of rooting for them as a little bit of a dark horse in my opinion, but it didn't work out. But look, at least they got a win, they got a draw as well. It's heartbreaking, but they gave it their all. They couldn't really do much more, so I think Ukrainians can be proud of their nation there. Okay, Group F then, so Portugal topped the group with 6 points, but they did lose, which, yeah, they lost in really crazy fashion, 2-0 to Georgia. I mean, who would have thought this? Who would have thought that Georgia would beat Portugal in this group? I don't think anyone was expecting that, but yeah, Portugal. I mean, it was a much changed Portugal side, like completely rotated pretty much. But then again, you see there's the difference, right? Spain versus Albania in their last game, they rotated the side, they got the job done. Portugal rotate their side versus Georgia, who are probably worse than Albania on paper, and they lose. So that is, it's concerning. I know they rotated, but it's concerning. And what I will say from Portugal is I've not been that impressed by them in this group stages in general. Like, the way they play is pretty bad. They're kind of similar to England in terms of they really struggle to break down teams. Like, they're pretty much cross and inshallah. They literally just spam crosses all game and play super wide. It's some really bad football. And we saw, like, in this game they had no idea. They barely could create any chances versus Georgia. Against Turkey, they looked pretty good, but Turkey kind of gave them a helping hand. And versus Czechia was pretty bad. So Portugal have not impressed me in this group stages at all. They have some good players, and look, as I said, again, we'll take it with a pinch of salt. Losing to Georgia as it was rotated. We'll see how they do when the likes of Bruno, Bernardo are back. But I've not been that impressed by Portugal overall, and yeah, I'm seeing some cracks in there. Maybe it's a case of, okay, when we come up against some better opposition, they're gonna turn it on, similar to how they did versus Turkey. But in my opinion, I've not been that impressed. As for Georgia though, I mean, incredible, absolutely incredible. Beating Portugal, I mean, what a story. This is the best story of the Euros by far. The biggest shock of the Euros by far. Georgia beating Portugal 2-0. Kvaratskhelia with a goal. This guy, Georgia's Makatsu, he's the top goal scorer of the tournament right now, which is crazy. Absolutely crazy. And Georgia have qualified. They have qualified for the round of 16 in their first ever Euros. I mean, coming into this, most of us would have said if they scored a goal at these Euros, that would have been a success. Got a draw, that'll be a success. These guys have gone and qualified from the group and beaten Portugal on the way. Like, that is superb. There's something Iceland-esque about them, you know. First time at the Euros, qualifying for the round of 16, who knows? I mean, I'm glad England are not playing them, to say the least, because Georgia, they're going to give anybody a game. They're not going to roll over in that round of 16 tie, I believe, versus Spain, because you saw against Portugal, these guys were like, they need to get drug tested or something. These guys just running for 100% for 90 minutes straight, non-stop blocks and Malai Mamashvili, that goalkeeper, Georgi Mamashvili. People were talking about him potentially getting a big move before the tournament started. Boy, he's had a couple zeros to his price tag now, because he was superb in this game and he's been superb in this tournament as well. And yeah, what a story by Georgia. They can lose 9-0 in their round of 16 game and it's still been an incredible Euros for them. So what a story. Turkey also managed to qualify with 6 points, and pretty good from Turkey after what happened at the last Euros where they were highly tipped as dark horses and flopped. Much better to get out of the groups. It's been a while since they have gotten out of the groups, so really good by them. Wasn't the most convincing against Czechia versus 10 men as well, needing a 94th minute goal. There was some scuffle at the end as well. I'm not sure what entirely happened there, but yeah, Turkey managed to get the job done, and Turkey are a decent side for a decent side, but overall, I'm not entirely convinced they're going to go that far in this tournament. Like, they're a solid side, but I'll be shocked if they make it past the quarters max, in my opinion, for Turkey, because I think defensively I've seen some really poor displays by them, like, especially individually, and like in that Portugal game, the individual errors they're capable of making is so poor, but they do have some really talented quality players like Audible, Hakan Çalhanoğlu, who have turned up massively in this group stages, and to get out of the groups, that's really good for Turkey, and if they can get into the quarterfinals, that would be a massive success. And as for Czechia, yeah, really disappointing. Only 1 point and no wins in this group. Really disappointing. But what I will say is they've been unfortunate. Like, in their games against Portugal, they were so close to snatching something in the 92nd minute they concede. And then against Georgia, they absolutely battered Georgia. But then, you know, they couldn't put their chances away, and Georgia got a penalty. And then against Turkey, they had a red card in the 20th minute. Like, honestly, kind of similar to Poland. They've been so unfortunate, and yeah, can be very don't think there's been a single team. There's not been a single team. Like, look at all the bottom place teams who has been like completely embarrassed and battered. Okay, maybe besides Scotland, but like Albania, Serbia, Poland, Ukraine, Czechia, they can go out of this tournament with their heads held up high. So credit to them. But here we go. Those are the group stages. So if I had to pick my best team of the groups, it's got to be Spain, of course. Germany a close second, and Austria as well, also up there. My surprise team of the tournament is definitely Austria, but also Romania and Slovakia for me have really impressed me, as have Georgia. Georgia qualifying is another big surprise. The player of the group stages for me, that's a really tough one. I don't think there's been a single player who's been like, wow. Maybe the Georgian player for the most goals, but he has had 2 pens. See, I was going to say one of the Spain boys like Fabian Ruiz, Lamine Yamal, Nico Williams, but they haven't even played all 3 games. They were rested versus Albania. Musiala potentially, but he wasn't great versus Switzerland. I think I'll give it to, you know what, I'll give it to Fabian Ruiz. He's been a bit of a surprise package for me. I didn't expect him to be this good so far, but he's been superb, especially going forward for Spain. And then the worst team of the tournament for me, the worst team, Scotland. Scotland got pretty much embarrassed in this tournament. As I said, one of the only teams to do it. And the most disappointing team, potentially Serbia. Maybe, you know what? And also, even though they top the group, England. I mean, I was expecting a little bit more from England, to say the least. But yeah, that's my review of the group stages. Then tomorrow we will do our predictions for the round of 16. So make sure you watch out for that. If you have enjoyed this video, please leave a like, consider subscribing, and I'll see you